Now, going on to the business blunder of the day, you have Indiana Jones crashing and burning. Called it. I wasn't alone in calling that, but yeah, many people called it, and I concurred. I moderately called it. Well, no, I called it. I wasn't the first, but I wasn't the last. Now, it's just crazy. I mean, who would have thought that people would want to see Harrison Ford constantly bullied by a feminist woke woman? Now, this particular feminist is known by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And apparently she punches him in the movie and is adamantly proud about that. Yet another reason not to see that garbage. So, it was the most disrespectful. Again, I haven't seen the damn thing. I've seen the previews, which are painful enough for my eyeballs. But does any true Indiana Jones fan say, you know what I want to see? Indiana Jones not in his prime. I want to see him constantly disrespected and constantly bullied by an unattractive woman. And unattractive, I mean mentally. Well, also physically, but mainly mentally. But does anyone think they want to see this character that they loved for generations, and now they're making Indiana Jones look like a doddering old man, and she's, ooh, hear me roar, I'm a woman. A wise man once said there's a time and place, and also marketing is important, and well, I guess acting is important. The screenwriter, yeah, they pretty much messed up everything for this movie. And it's one of those things where the more you try to artificially inject feminism into pop culture, the more it fails. There are great movies where you have a female lead. I believe, what was it? The vampire one, Underworld? That movie did phenomenally. People loved that gal. Oh, it's going to kill me. Oh, that movie. It was a good movie. Same with Resident Evil. I think that was Mila Jovovich. But Resident Evil, that movie had a female actress, and people loved that movie. Partially because it wasn't pushing political crap down your gullet and putting it in your face. It was just a good movie that happened to have a female lead. It wasn't pushing a political narrative. That's why I think those movies succeeded. Same with the movie Alien. One of the best sci-fi movies for many people love that movie. But in this case, you're having someone just bully an old, decrepit Harrison Ford. And he still has a great voice. Shoot, I think he should do some audiobooks, but he looks tired, and they spent a lot of money on the movie de-aging him using CGI. They also had to have other people do the stunts, and it's just a complete abomination to the original character. The Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, that's where it should have ended. It's in the title, The Last Crusade. You also had Sean Connery in the movie, and he's a great actor. So you had two great actors in that movie, and it was a great send-off. The movie concluded because Disney is so greedy, and they're so uncreative. Just doing a copy of a copy of a copy, like a shitty photocopy machine, it degrades more and more and more, and that's where you get this. It's utter trash. And the numbers prove my point. So the estimated budget for the movie to produce, and again, this is to produce it, not to advertise it. That's another double that. Just to produce the damn abomination of a film was $300 million. And on their opening weekend, they made $60 million at the box office. Now, keep in mind, that's the box office. They don't get all that money. They share that with major theaters, whether it be AMC or Cinemark. They don't get to keep that full amount. And there are rumors on what's the split. But some say 50-50, it's a 60-40. But they're not getting every dollar of that dollar you hear when it says the box office made this. They're getting a percentage of that. And it's hilarious to see the excuses that are starting to come up here. And some of the excuses from these analysts are saying that, well, the movie's tanking because it wasn't diverse enough. No one... That's the dumb... I've heard a lot of dumb takes in my day. Pretty much anything AOC says. But in terms of dumb takes on films and cinematography, that's ridiculous. No one has tuned into an Indiana Jones film prior for that reason. I don't see how that would be a pivotal moment. You also had some of the original cast, or I believe some of them are diverse, or they are of different backgrounds than Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford. And also, they actually eliminated Shia LaBeouf, who apparently was Indiana Jones' son in the previous movie. So there's no continuity. They didn't even think about continuity besides Harrison Ford getting older. That might be the only continuity of the whole damn film. And I feel sorry for people that actually paid for this garbage, but it is just ridiculous beyond all belief. And in pure Disney fashion, perhaps they're getting more desperate for more money. They have more merchandising crap for this movie than a Star Wars film, which, yes, Disney actually branded oranges for the Star Wars movie. Everything must be branded. I understand it's you get extra money, because in terms of licensing, if I were to pay someone to put my logo on a mug for them to sell it, you get a licensing fee. You don't have to do anything. You just sit there and say, hey, here's a piece of paper, sign it. You give me a percentage of everything you sell because you have my intellectual property on your product. So for Disney, it's good because they're just getting money to do nothing except license the intellectual property of Indiana Jones. But they're doing it for everything, and it has almost nothing to do with the movie. One of them is like a toffee coffee. So on my Facebook page, unfortunately because I say the words Indiana Jones, they think, oh, I really want to see the new ones. Oh, dear God, no. But I see all these ads. One of them was for a toffee-flavored coffee. In all the movies, did Indiana Jones ever spend a lot of time going, oh, yes, I'm a coffee enthusiast. This is great. The only thing he drank that I can remember is whiskey. Well, rather, he asked for whiskey when he's bent over the bar, and the bad guy gets, and famously, and I believe this is the Last Crusade? No, that's Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's the one with the... So he's at the bar, he's bent over, he asks her for whiskey, and I believe it's a Jameson Black Label or Jack Daniels, but he gets whiskey bottle, he flips it and hits the bad guy in the head. So he asked for whiskey once, and then famously he drank the holy water, or he drank water from the cup of Christ, which is why Harrison Ford can't die, because Indiana Jones' The Last Crusade, spoiler alert, he drank that, which gave him eternal life. So where's coffee coming to play? You're right, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with the movie. Now, also, even more moronically, is a watch. And a watch, for the designer's credit, it does look like a more vintage watch, but when has Harrison Ford ever said, oh yeah, let me get the time here, or whatever he sounds like? I'm certainly no voice impressionist of Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford. Or am I? It's not the years, what do you say famously? It's not the years that get you, kid, it's the miles. Yeah, I know that's pretty bad. Probably not the best. But nevertheless, my point still stands. I don't even think he wears a watch in the first 3 or 4 films. And now they're trying to sell an Indiana Jones watch. That might make sense that would make sense for a James Bond movie, where a watch is a gadget, and famously throughout the films, he uses certain brands of the watch, and he uses the watch in the movie, and it's a reference point like a gadget. That makes sense, but for Indiana Jones to use that, it's ridiculous. And again, opening weekend, they made $60 million, which is nothing compared to a $300 million budget, and then you have to have more advertising on top of that. So conservatively, let's guess they spent $600 million to $1 billion if you really want to stretch it. If you go to the 2x multiplier for budget versus advertising, or production budget versus advertising budget, there's no way they're making their money back on this film. And Disney's just doing it again and again and again. It's almost like they don't listen to logic. I can't think of a good enough metaphor for a bumbling idiot, or like someone who doesn't understand the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and again and expecting different results. They are quite literally just injecting more and more politics and themes into the movies, and the consumers are fed up with it. Clearly, they're not going to see these movies. And this might scare the shit out of Disney. They might have to think of original ideas. Dear God, what will they possibly do? Because this movie did worse than Solo, which was supposed to be the standalone Han Solo movie, which again, that fell flat on its face as well. So I think Disney got greedy. They bought Lucasfilms, obviously, to make a profit, so they decided to make more Star Wars, and worse, they started to make new Indiana Jones films. Will they make their money? I know they have all the toys for Star Wars. So maybe they're breaking even. But I believe they gave George Lucas about $4 billion or $5 billion for all that high intellectual property. I mean, this might be the business blunder of the year in terms of the cinematography world or the entertainment world. But I can't imagine they're certainly not making a profit on these Indiana Jones movies. And again, the Kingdom of Crystal Skull was garbage, and that flopped. So you're not having the same people who said, "Hey, this is the first time Indiana Jones here had a movie in 30 plus years, or whatever." That's really going that you only get that one shot really to reinvigorate a brand or reinvigorate a cinematography or a movie franchise, and that movie was awful for many reasons. And of course, this one's doing worse because no one wants to see it. And it'll be hilarious to see who they blame for their continued business blunders. But for Disney to spend $300 million to $600 to $900 million on the total cost of this Indiana Jones movie to only make $60 million the first opening weekend, which again, analysts usually say you make 67% of your total box office for the first 1 or 2 or 2-3 weeks. That's got to be the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. We're trying to get up to 3,000 subscribers in July, so if you could take the time to click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. The feedback greatly helps the channel out as we try to get the production better and better and better over time. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone to stay safe and fight the good fight.